Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. So this is the second part of the video on 2-6gen synchronizations. So in the previous video I talked about the importance of having the 2-6gen synchronized on the same clock. So this one I'm going to focus on how to synchronize on the waveform between two signal generator. You might not see a very big difference, but it's important to have this knowledge. So anyway, let's refresh how the setup look like. At the top SIGGEN 1, I have event 1 out from SIGGEN 1 and it's connecting to the trigger 1 of the SIGGEN 2. So it's over here. So SIGGEN 2 trigger 1. So from event 1, we have the input to trigger SIGGEN 2. So let's put that aside. So again, this is how it looks like on this two signal generator, just a pure sine wave, and it's synchronized in some sense. It's just that the phase is not correctly done. Nevertheless, this is what we have. So I'm going to show you how it looks like for SIGGEN 1 setup. So I'm using a dual up and I'm selecting one of the signal that is there. So let's go to QPS key and then I set the trigger type. So this is when I set this trigger, you start running the signal. So the next thing I want to do is to put on the marker utilities. So I'm going to set a marker onto this QPSK and I want to do this waveform and marker. So you can see that the marker is over here, point. So you can actually set the marker to any part of that signal, the waveform that you want to generate so that it's synchronized to the subsequent SIGGEN. This is the usefulness of the marker, and if you haven't used it, this could be solutions to your multiple instruments setup. So let's go back there. So it's already done. So what happened is I'm going to run this signal and I'm going to turn on the modulations. So you can see that the modulation has changed from pure sine wave to QPSK in baseband, but it's already up convert to a carrier signal at 150 meg. So I'm going to trigger and then you're going to see that it tried to synchronize from SIGGEN 2. So this has been triggered. So what would happen, we select another waveform and let's say cram, and then we trigger again. So you can see that every time I trigger, I send an event 1 to SIGGEN 2. So that is trying to synchronize to the point of waveform that I'm sending. So it's mostly on the time delay, time setup. Again, this is another way to do a synchronization between two instruments. When you have a modulated waveform, you can define which part of the waveform you want it to synchronize with the second signal generator. I know this is a quick one and I don't have a very good signal to show you how to make it, but you get the idea. So the whole idea is to synchronize between multiple signal generator, and this is another way to do it. So in summary, you can actually use the marker 1 that's connected to event 1. So how do you change that is over here. So we have this trigger source, trigger key, so that's trigger key over here, and I have this. So it's under marker routing. So let's go back there. So it's under more marker utilities, marker routing. So you can see the marker 1 which I've put on the waveform that I'm going to generate, and it's linked to event 1 which is the output for this SIGGEN 1, and this event 1 is connected to the trigger in of SIGGEN 2. So practically this is how you do it. So I hope this helped. Thanks for watching.